Hey everyone, my name is Sarita. I'm from Portland, Oregon, and myself, along with my co-host Thea Williams, we're excited to welcome you to this week's edition of Power Playbooks. What is Power Playbooks? It is a weekly episode or webinar that has really amazing guests that share exactly what they're doing today in their business to win, and they get detailed. They share their playbooks with us. And with that, I'm going to kick it over to Vija, who will introduce our topic and our guests.
Yeah, thanks, Sarita. I never thought about saying where I'm from. Do you guys all know? You all know. Where am I from? Someone put it.
Everybody knows you, Vija.
No, they
but
don't
still,
know.
You should tell everyone.
A lot of regulars on here, like you all know I'm in Seattle, right? Fun fact, Bob Stewart is also from Seattle, who's one of our panelists today. Bob's joining us. He's our Vice President of Success and Training at Place. Hi, Bob.
Hi, Vija. How are you?
We're like, what, 10 minutes away from each other?
I don't know. Didn't you move to like your fancy lake house up in the woods or something?
No,
like you sold all your other real estate and you did a Ben Kinney, just dove into the woods, or no?
I kind of. We're moving there again this summer, but we're still 10 minutes away from you.
Okay, all right.
I split my time.
We're close enough that today Vija called me and told me that my child could come steal all of the candy out of her office to keep her on her diet or whatever. Is that right? I was
just eating candy because I have a whole drawer of candy, and Bob's kid loves my candy drawer. And I was like, can you send your kid in to like demolish that drawer so I don't eat it? Speaking of Seattle, what's the farthest point from Seattle you could go? Well, that would be Florida, folks. So we have Eric Perez. Eric's the COO of the Figueroa Team and a place partner and total tech expert and amazing at AI and ChatGPT. Welcome, Eric.
Thanks for having me. It's 3 o'clock. We usually stop working by now, but right? I'm here for you guys.
I know you a lot better than that. You're just getting started at 3 p.m.
Yeah, this is just a nice break for you.
I thought that's when the AI takes over and Eric just goes home and the AI does.
Yeah, I'm clocking in now. AI has been handling people all morning, so
got it.
Well, then we have Roberto Moreno. So Roberto, you're our vice president of product and AI, right? At Place. So you're the expert. You're like the guru in the house.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but yes, I've been around the AI space for probably about 6 years or so now.
That makes you the expert out of this group, I'm pretty sure. So here's what we want to talk about today. How many of you guys that are watching or listening, if you're driving, don't raise your hand, but if you're on chat, let me know. How many of you are getting a little like overwhelmed / tired of hearing about ChatGPT, AI, right? So what we want to do today is get very tactical. Okay. Panelists, do not raise your hand.
They're tired of it, but they're going to talk about it.
Raise your hand. You're supposed to be act interested at least. Just lie to us a little bit. Mm-hmm. So this is what we want to do today, you guys. We want to get very tactical and specific on exactly how you can use ChatGPT and AI in real estate to make you money, give you time, all of the things. So we're going to get super tactical. This is a great one to take notes. If you're just listening to this, don't worry. We're going to republish it as a podcast so you can listen to it again. We're going to give you a couple amazing takeaways, and we even have a slide deck done by AI today. That's going to be kind of interesting that we're going to go through. So I'd like to kind of kick this off with the question, and I think I'm going to direct it at Roberto. But Eric and Bob, feel free to jump in. Roberto, what is AI? What is machine learning? And what is ChatGPT? Those are the 3 things I hear interspersely, and I think I'd love to know the difference.
Sure. So obviously AI is artificial intelligence. Under AI, there is a lot of different types of AI, right? We have the natural language processing, which we'll talk in a minute. We have computer vision, but it's really what, artificial intelligence is a way for us to program computers to do things for us, right? Now, ChatGPT is a model that is within the natural language processing side of the AI, which is, training the computer to understand language, right? So that's kind of like the two big differences is AI, ChatGPT is a model, underneath the natural language topic of AI. So that is really making the computer understand English or any language, and then be able to respond back and do things for us.
Okay. That's
Roberto, Roberto, you've been doing this for 6 years, which is longer than ChatGPT's been out. And in fact, you came into the place world because Ben purchased a company of yours called Gabby.ai, but that was machine learning, right? Or that was like you were programming the machines back then. What's the difference between what we would have seen as a bot 3 years ago and this new like natural language processing stuff?
So GPT has been around for like probably 3 years. What's kind of made this big jump is that we just have more computer power. We have more CPUs. It's allowing to train the data much faster, much quicker. Now, 4 years ago, when we were building our AI product, we didn't have that kind of power, right? So we really had to build a lot of what we call training of the understanding of a language. So when people were, it was a conversation type of bot, but the idea was that we were trying to understand what the customer was saying. Hey, I'm looking for this type of property. This is the price. This is when I want to see it. And all that information would get fed into the AI, which then what we called extract entities, right? And we would have to extract every single piece to be able to make it understand. Like, we didn't have these large models that just understand everything nowadays. So we built sort of a very basic version that took us about 7 months. With the new stuff, which these large language models, which are these huge, massive amounts of data that they're using to train nowadays, can understand within a day or like within a couple hours of work. We can do what we did 7 months ago. So the difference is really computer power and some new algorithms that existed, but nothing's really crazy new. It's been around for many, many years. It's just computer powers have just increased a lot.
So I love that conversation and understanding kind of the nuances and what's changed. And what I'm hearing you say is with the power now, it's just like you type something into ChatGPT and like instantly, like in a second, you get like a massive essay description on, whatever problem you're trying to solve. Speaking of problems though, what would be great would be what are the problems that realtors have that AI and specifically ChatGPT, or not ChatGPT, but any AI is solving today? There's so many things that I think we do as realtors. Where does it make sense and where is it kind of a fad? Because I think that's, for the viewers out there, it'd be great to separate the hype from the actual, like, where's the bang for the buck on this? Eric, does this make sense to maybe transition to you and kind of hear your thoughts?
Yeah, and I also think to piggyback on Roberto and Bob, I think one of the main distinctions of AI is the concept of AGI, which is general intelligence. It's where now these machines not just can do automated tasks, they can do things that maybe humans or intellectuals like ourselves would accomplish at some period of time, right? So going from that segment of AGI and all these tools that we're going to talk about that are powered by ChatGPT with the language model, because we can now communicate with a computer that's more than just binary, or we can speak to it in a way. I think it's a way to go right into the real estate aspects and what are you guys doing and wasting all your time on that can be fixed by a $39 a month subscription? And I think that's where it talks about scaling yourself and your business and things of that nature. So should I get right to our presentation? It's much simpler.
Let's. I want to shelve the presentation a little bit. Let's stay on marketing, but I think we should start with marketing right now. So let's start with marketing, and then let's go more into operations. So, Roberto and Bob, right? Like, what are all of the different, copywriting and language things that we do in real estate marketing that we can use ChatGPT on?
Here, Roberto has become a master at using this, not just in his daily life. So I think the most often we don't know what to say to a prospect, for example, right? It's this lead, they've been in our database for some amount of time. We've had emails back and forth with them. Roberto today has become much funnier, much more witty. And like his text messages, I can tell. I've been texting with Roberto for a bunch of years. Today, his text messages though have this certain swagger to them because
This wink, the wink.
yeah,
It's a superpower I have.
He's using the chat GPT to like respond to my messages. And so I think one of the very first places could be like, what am I saying to my prospects via, right? Like from I think marketing in an email that I'm sending out to a prospect of my database is essentially marketing, right? So that, suggestive messaging would be a place where I think is really powerful, right? Like I could potentially feed up to chat GPT. Here's a copy and paste of everything I know about this prospect. Tell me what I should say in my next email to them. And it will take every, email I've had in the past if I feed it up to that thing, and it will tell me what I might say next to this prospect. I think that's really obvious one that everybody could be using.
I did not know it could do that. So we can use it in our texting and emailing with prospects. We could probably use it in our verbal scripting if we're staring at it, right? Like, as a teleprompter, we could use it listing descriptions, flyers, blogs, right? Like websites, website descriptions, property websites, advertising.
This would have broke
Research. Research, guys. Let's get right to it. All of us can write a great blog. The data behind it, I think research is where I use it the most for sure.
So give us an example. Tell us a little more. When you say research, what do you mean?
I mean, ChatGPT specifically is only trained to data up to 2021 September, but just understanding history is a really, really good way to look at it, especially it's expedited my learning curve. I've only been in real estate for 3 years. So the second ChatGPT came in there, I was like, explain to me the crash of 2008, explain to me the crash of 2009, explain to me these things, and kind of give me narratives around real estate, what happened during the peak of COVID, any piece of news you see, the TV, extrapolate this to more details. Like in real estate, I do use it a lot for just general. What would home buyers searching most for in 2021, in 2020, 2019? Give me 20 topics they were searching for. And then I would take those topics and then I would use a software that would do like SEO derivatives, like kind of things, because SEO is very competitive. So it's ranking based, right? So what are things that people also search for when it says first time home buyer? And then I would write blogs associated with the derivatives to try to compete with that ranking. But I don't know what they're searching for. Like, I have no idea. I'm just going to let ChatGPT take the data it has and give me some answers.
What
website?
What program do you use for that?
For the key ranking surfer, SEO.com. SEOsurfer.com. I have it in my presentation so they can have it. Yeah.
So just to piggyback on what you said, Eric, real quick. So the difference between, let's say you're researching something, if you Google it, you'll get a bunch of links and you have to click on each one, read them, and your own brain kind of trying to make sense of what you're reading. What the difference with regards to research is asking AI to essentially interpret and explain the findings for you, as opposed to having to kind of do it yourself. Is that a good summary?
Yeah, and because the language of the model is only 2021, if you go find your own articles that are newer, you can feed it to ChatGPT and just learn that data. And then you can ask questions and bullet points and extract smaller amounts that are more digestible for us, right? We're not machines, computers, to get that information. Like, I'll give you a really good example, guys. It's like we get these online seller inquiries for cash offer, and there's a motivation field. And it'll tell us like, hey, I'm downsizing, I'm divorced, I'm relocating, X, Y, and Z. I just went through and took those prompts and just ChatGPT like, hey, people that were downsizing in this year, what were they searching for online? What tips? And I just put all those blogs on my internet, I just put all those blogs on my website. And then when I knew I was spending advertisement and marketing to those individuals, I was giving them the content that they basically asked for without knowing they asked for it. And I was able to scale a journey for 24 months. And I was able to get that done in 12 days using ChatGPT. So like, I was able to keep in front of my consumer for almost 2 years of time with relevant content based on their inquiry in 12 days. I have that for downsizing, relocation, divorce, death, financial hardships, you name it. If I get that, declarative data from the inquiry, then I can extrapolate it very quickly without doing any research. Truthfully,
I mean, Eric, you essentially went into ChatGPT and said, give me, I mean, you could say, give me 100 topics that somebody who was downsizing might go looking for on the internet. It's going to give you a list of 100 topics. And then you go topic by topic and say, okay, write me a blog post about answering this question.
Oh, it's worse. Bob, it's worse. It's like, okay, I got the blog. When I need to shoot a video. Hey, write me a script, no more than 90 seconds. That doesn't use any hard words or something. And it will just give it so I can give it to my whoever's going to run the camera can read it. And then it expedites that learning curve or that research process. And then one of the things, Bob, to add to that, and I promise I'll shut up, is that like it's also the fact that we have bias in our industry because we literally walk around and think people know what we know as realtors and real estate specialists. Just because you think that a consumer will search X, Y, or Z, you want to know the number two thing someone searched for that was actually selling their home? Moving companies, because everybody hates to move. You would think it'd be like real estate agent. You would think it'd be like commissioned. We would all think about like time on market or marketing tactics or what MLS services you're using. They don't know anything of that. They're like, I got to sell my house and then I got to move all my stuff. Like that's how rudimentary the thought process is. So it's like, go and just do the research so your content is more relevant to the consumer based on us making opinions. And then like, because this is how it used to be. Launch a campaign. Was the open rate high? Did they respond back? Okay, no, this wasn't a good one. Let's launch it 9 months down the line and you've got 25% of your yearly campaign. Like you just wasted 9 months guessing, right? And then it's like, okay, let's just expedite that and be a little bit better. So
another good example would be, so ChatGPT, if you're paying for ChatGPT, ChatGPT 4, which has the browser capabilities, and also Bing, if you use Bing or Bard, which is a Google version in the US, that has real-time data now. So one thing that I start seeing some agents do is they want to write blogs about like the latest events happening in the next week, right? So you would just type things like, write me a blog with 5 friendly events happening in Seattle, Washington in May 29, and it would go to the website, search Google, find all the links, go to each of those links, extract information, and then write a blog based on that. So it's getting to the point where now it does have real-time data if you're using the paid versions or if you're using Bing or Bard, which is a Google version of it. So that's
looks like Bard right now. Never heard of it.
Yeah, Google Bard is it's the same version. It's sort of like the competition to ChatGPT.
It's the response is the best way you can put it. It was
I've literally never heard of it. I just got it. Try Bard.
So Google had a developer that got fired because he came out and said that Bard AI is getting, what's the word, Roberto?
Sentient.
It's like it has feelings and like it's a mind of its own essentially, and it scared him, and he started raising the flag, and they were like, hey, you got to go. But
I saw that guy quit. I saw that whole thing, but I had no idea what it was. So this is crazy. So this is, hold on, I have to understand what Bard is. Bard is Google's ChatGPT.
Yes,
real time.
Real time, because it has
with feelings, clearly with feelings.
Well, Sam Altman, the CEO of ChatGPT, made it very clear they're going to roll it like in deployments because they want to roll out the interface to us and then see the effects on the world, right? Because it is so impactful. Bard said, "Hey, we're going to go 0 to 100 and give them real time data and see what happens." So it's awesome. We're living in an awesome world. Let me tell you that.
I want to go back to.
I would say Google's a little slower just because they do have. It's a public company, right? Number one. Number two, the revenues ad, right? So they are releasing quite fast, and they are catching up to ChatGPT, but they also have a mandate to their investors, right? So let's just that's important to know that Google is controlling a little bit more and kind of filtering a little bit.
True.
Yeah.
Because they need to make sure it maximizes revenue.
Okay, so I just put in Bard, right? Yeah. To kind of take from Eric and Roberto, what you're all saying. I said, what are home sellers searching on Google in 2023? And I just got the list. Like, this is our list. So sell my home, selling a house. Should I sell my house now? Homes recently sold near me. That tells me the property reports are the most important things that we can send our people, which I knew anyway. Taxes on selling a house, So you could do a blog or a whole, video live on, selling costs in your area. Like, how much does it cost to sell a house, right? How long does it take to sell a house? Is it a good time to sell a house? A lot about timing, how to sell a house fast, cost of selling a house. This is crazy, you guys. I had no idea.
Yeah. And some of the other stuff that ChatGPT, with the newer version, if you're paying, is you're able to send it a CSV file of, like, let's say, MLS data, and it's able to be basically a data scientist for you. You basically feed it a bunch of data, and you basically say, tell me what's interesting about this data. And it would figure out that this data is it's a listing data. It has certain columns, and they'll say, hey, I think this is a real estate thing. Do you want me to do this? And they'll create charts for you, and kind of technically be a little data scientist that you can use to create charts, and then you can use that to create blogs for your marketing.
Okay, hey Eric, can you unshare the screen really quick? I want to follow up on one more thing. So Roberto, here's what I'd like to just spend a few minutes with on you, and then we're going to go to Eric's AI presentation. And that is, I think one of my biggest takeaways from talking with you leading up to this was your incredible list on prompts and how to use ChatGPT or Bard. And, you have a whole list of, if you want to get this out of it, this is what you should ask it. Can you kind of talk to that and talk about
Sure.
how you derive, like, how did you figure that out? Like, how do you even know how to use it in the best way to get what you want out of it?
Yeah. So what I usually recommend to people is, obviously, ChatGPT is probably the easiest one. So sign up for ChatGPT. We're at the end of the presentation, we have a list of some basic prompts. But think about it when you're interacting with ChatGPT. Just think about it, you're talking to somebody, right? So what I mean by that, one of the things people think is, like, you send it something and it gives something back. You could actually say, you know what? I don't write the blog that you did for me, make it funny. And then it will just say, great, I'll make it funny. Or, hey, make your, have a conversation with it, and just ask it if you had an assistant, and it'll keep working towards what you're trying to accomplish. If that's a blog, or maybe there's a Facebook advertisement that you're trying to do, or any of these things. So I see a lot of people use ChatGPT and they're kind of like one, and then they get a response and that's it. No, use it as a conversation, right? And ask it to change if you don't like something or remove something. So it's really just like talking to somebody. I would kind of think about it that way.
So Eric, what I'm hearing you say is, it's not the actual tool, it's how you interact with it. When you say prompts, you're saying how you actually word what you ask. And the other reminder is, it's not a one-off, it's a conversation. And so, yes, you can just, like Google search, you can just ask one thing and get your answer. But if you actually know how to word the prompts and continually have more, go 3 deep or go lower level with regards to follow-on questions and follow-on prompts, basically you'll get a lot more information than just kind of one and done.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
And one of the things is, so we'll provide some basic prompts, but one of the things that is really helpful when you're interacting with these tools is you're telling the tool how to act, right? So in more advanced prompting, you would say something like, act like as a real estate agent that sells luxury homes in Seattle, Washington. And, you're going to help me write some blogs about the luxury market. And it's how you tell it how to react and who to be. And that really helps to also define how it responds, right? So in the example that we're going to provide, they're very basic, like, hey, write me a description. Great. But if you start telling it, like, how to act as like
a persona. Almost, right? What persona do you want them to be?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Then it's going to start tweaking the responses back to that persona. And that's when it starts to become really powerful. And then also in our example that we're going to provide in the advanced sections, there's one that's a little bit more advanced with the SEO blogging one. That one, it will tell you, like, the title, the slug, the URL you should be using, the description for your metadata, all the kind of requirements. But if you actually read the prompt, it says, I want you to spit out the answer this way. So that's another really powerful, is telling it how you want to respond back is very important.
Okay, so you're saying you could prompt something, you
Training
could
is-
say, like, write me an ad to sell a house and write it like you're a home seller. Write it like you're a home seller.
Yeah, you could do,
Stupid
write me.
example, but
Yeah, that's that would be a good example. Yes, but you could tell it more like, you work in this area, in this neighborhood. You are an agent that likes to joke around, so maybe throw a couple of jokes in there, and also maybe do a table with maybe the latest stats on it, right? Like if you had access to that data, and then it would format that properly however you wanted to.
Roberto,
That's awesome.
we're getting tons of questions on is it worth it to get the paid ChatGPT?
So I would
Eric's
say,
nodding his head yes.
yeah, so there's tons of tools out there, and Eric's going to go through some of the tools that he uses. A lot of these tools are using ChatGPT behind the scenes. And what they're doing is they're basically creating nice tools, but what the magic is, this prompting, is how you tell the ad or the model to respond back and give back the responses, right? So the problem with that is, like, you could have a bunch of different tools and it could be costly, right? But if you start to learn how to prompt ChatGPT, you could probably do most of the things that all these AI tools are currently doing. There's tons coming up, but they're all kind of based on these large models like ChatGPT. So
Well, the big thing
it's probably worth it.
The big thing on the upgrade is the current, you get the data fed in there up to date, right? Whereas the free version of it, like Eric was saying, is capped with data only up until 2021 or something like that.
No, I
is
think
it-
both models are capped. I think ChatGPT 4 just has.
I think you just transitioned to Eric's presentation though.
Let's do
I
it.
think
Let's
you
do
just
it.
kicked it to him.
Yeah, let's.
There
we-
are
we
some
have-
limits. Yeah, there are some limits for
Well,
sure.
And I just want to tell the audience, like, these Power Playbook webinars are usually interactive conversations, but there's so much information that we do have a presentation for this one, and we're going to kick it over to Eric to go ahead and present.
Awesome.
Awesome, guys. And Roberto was talking about training his own language model while he was teaching it what to do. All right, cool, guys. Real quick, I use beautiful.ai to create this presentation. First and foremost, I like it a lot. It is powered by ChatGPT, as Roberto referenced. So if I'm writing something within the presentation, I want it reworded, I click a little robot button and it will reword it for me. I actually didn't write a lot of this stuff, but there's some things I did write, and I won't tell you which is which, so we'll figure it out. But talking about backend processes utilizing AI, first and foremost. AI is obviously revolutioning the way we all do business and driving a lot of automation that will really streamline and optimize what we're doing. That leads to three real things: efficiency, reduce costs, and improve accuracy. I can tell you, I run not a large organization, but pretty big for a real estate team. The last two are so important to me: reducing costs, obviously, leading with your P&L, and then also improving accuracy. Like, I can't tell you how many spelling mistakes I'll see I used to see on advertisement. I'd be scrolling on Facebook, I see my team's advertising, I'm like, that is spelled wrong. And at the time we try to scale through, cheaper labor, overseas labor, things of that nature. And there's always some, I would say, risk of doing so. When we leveraged them using the tools instead, we saw a lot more efficiency and improved accuracy in all of our marketing content and our deliverables as well. Innovation through AI. Like we said, it's really, really, really innovating the world. It's changing a lot. Roberto referenced it being a data scientist. You know what I used it a lot for in this space? Scheduling my ISAs based on their performance. I would feed them the data on the 30 days of their activity and said, if I wanted an average calls, contact, emails, etc., appointments in a week, how should I schedule? Should Roberto go on Monday with Vija, or should he be paired with Sarita, right? And based on the data that I was able to provide, it actually gave me a solid schedule that improved consistent appointments for the last, I would say, 60 days so far. So it was a real great way of doing that. I'm going to talk about some basic business use cases for the AI and how I use them. We're going to go over the use cases first, then we're going to go over actually the tools associated with them. First, three that are huge for me is marketing, business development, and administration. Number one, marketing, we referenced it several times already in the presentation. SEO optimization, this is huge. SEO for a long time has been a lot of like, the longer you've been in it, the more familiar you're with the tools and how Google and how things play to it. Now you're going to have a tool that's really, really smart to do so and really make sure that you're optimizing all your keywords to attract your consumer and even insulate your consumer that you're trying to get to. Consumer email creation. I referenced how we built email journeys for specific people based on their declarative data as they came into our database. Leveraging that to completion, writing the emails, writing the scripts for the videos that go with it, and really writing the messaging as well. It's been great for us. It's been helpful for us. And lastly was blog creation, which is kind of an accumulation of the two above, is being able to spit out blogs faster. We were doing it weekly. And then since we got, I'm going to talk about Jasper AI in a little bit. Since we got Jasper and SEO Surfer, we've been doing 4 blogs a week. I want to say for the last probably 10 to 11 weeks, I'm sorry. And then second to that, now we used to run 1 ad a month through the whole month. We've run the same Facebook, Bing, Instagram advertisement. Now we're able to change the advertisement every week to get a little fresher approach because we have new content to go after based on things that ChatGPT told us. In the business development, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I do want to address that. I've heard, I don't know if it's a rumor mill or not, or urban myth, but I've been hearing from a lot of people that Google knows when it's AI written, that like your blog, you need to go back and edit it, or, that somehow it doesn't have the Google juice that it has when you manually write it. Is that fact, fiction? Maybe Roberto knows. I don't know.
Yeah. So there's kind of two things. So as the models get better, like, yes, I would say yes and no. So as Google does know if it is used by AI, but as the models get better, there's always going to be that gray area where like you can just ask it to write it differently. So you could like get the blog written up first by AI. Then you analyze it and you say, yeah, this sounds good. I'm going to tweak a couple of things. You manually enhance it. And then you can even ask AI to rewrite it again and say, hey, make it original, make it a first person, don't make it this. And then you can start tricking the AI to make it feel more real. So the answer is yes and no. It's kind of a, maybe Jasper does something magical that kind of changes grammatically, like, so it doesn't detect it.
Yeah, I haven't had any potential issues, but you can always ask it to regenerate the response and rewrite it for originality or something that you see. I think it's like cybersecurity and hackers, right? They're always chasing each other. There's a cat and mouse. So like as one gets better, the other must get better. And I think
100%, yeah.
They drive each other to get better in a lot of ways. But yeah, you're 100% right. In the business development side, document agreement creation. I don't know if you've ever been a team leader and how to rewrite your team agreements or write some sort of lead source documentation or anything for the agent's perspective. We used to have attorneys on retainer. I haven't paid an attorney to write a document for me for a long, long time. Probably not the best idea because we do get
like you're making me sweat.
Yeah, but we've written in marketing agency agreements. We've written so many things now, and I literally just use AI, or I'll punch an agreement that I get and be like, please summarize this to me.
Why do I feel the need?
When you get one of those Ben Kinney agreements where you just don't even know what half the words say, you just punch that into ChatGPT to figure out what's actually going on. LMS systems. So we have a large team, so we scale through LMS systems, and now they have AI. So actually creating content, quizzes. Oh my God! It used to be like, hey, we can teach it. Now, how do we test them on this subject? That used to literally blow my mind. Now I can create quizzes and tests for my agents to go through to really see their learning progress with a snap of a finger. And last but not least, customer service. So we all have used AI chatbots. Even probably the last 5 years, we use AI chatbots to some degree. Now there's so many white label versions you can put on your own website within your own infrastructure, and it becomes very easy to use. Lastly, administration, email reading responses. Good Lord, this has helped me a lot. in a lot of ways. It's helped me respond to a lot of emails a lot quicker. I get about 210 emails a day, and I'll respond on average about 25% of them. Now I'm closer to 50-60%. If you ask Veronica, I'm still the worst in the world. That's because I don't know what she's asking for in those emails, and neither is ChatGPT, but that's a different story. But email reading and responses, they have a plugin with Gmail, so that's really good. One thing is, you have a larger organization, you'll have to buy it for all the accounts. It's like an add-on for everything. So I actually kind of created my own little account. So it's only like a plugin that's like $6 or $7 a month. Actually, I think it's free because I have the pro. I'm not exactly sure, but
Wait,
there's that.
The plugin reads your email? It doesn't just respond.
Yeah.
What,
If I knew what was in my personal email right now, I'd open it up live and do it, but I have no idea what's in there. So I can't
Smart,
do it.
Eric. That's smart.
I'm scared. Yeah.
good ratings for us.
You should be scared. You should be scared.
No, I should have never.
If it reads it,
Get a sample.
I don't understand. If it reads it, I still have to read it to know. Who cares if it reads it? If it automates responses.
Well, I think it probably queue it up for you to send via. It's not going to reply.
Yeah, it doesn't
It's
do
suggestive.
It by itself. Yeah, it's suggestive.
What, so
Think
is
of it as spell check, right? Think of it as autocorrect, right?
What
It'll
program- what
have the
program is this?
suggestion.
what program is this, Eric?
One thing while you're looking at
It's a plugin through Gmail.
Through Gmail, yeah. I'll pull it up. Hold on.
one thing while he pulls that up
Go ahead.
is one thing that we haven't talked about is AI does have something called hallucinations, which like makes stuff up. So don't trust everything you're running through ChatGPT or anything. Make sure you're verifying it. Make sure you're reading it. Because if you like say something about like, hey, tell me something funny about Bob Smith, or Bob Stewart, it's gonna like make up stuff that might not be true. So I would say when it's generating content, I would probably give it about 70% accuracy. You still need to verify, check it, and make sure that you're not saying something you shouldn't. So just a warning, it's not 100%.
It's a great warning, right? We can't treat this as gospel without fact checking.
I'm just gonna show you guys where to get it because I'm just gonna show you guys where to get it. It's GM Plus Open AI ChatGPT for Gmail.
Okay.
So it's in your Chrome browser. You can do it, and you can kind of fumble through there, and let me know how good it works out for you. But yeah, it does responses, suggestions, complete emails, et cetera, et cetera.
The other thing to keep, one more thing, another warning too, is don't feed personal information to it, because as default, it is using your data to make the model better. So be careful about what you're putting into it. There is a setting in the ChatGPT to say don't use my data for training, but as default, it's kind of hidden. As default, all these AI tools are most likely using your data to train. But they don't really talk about it. So just be careful.
And also, Roberto, just because like even my business ideas, I don't have it write business plans for me. I don't want to know what I'm thinking. So I get very
ideas are free.
Yeah.
Execution is the key here, man.
So to repeat what you just said is like, don't give it the secret sauce because it will take it and make it part of its library.
Yeah. It will train on it is the
right.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. So email reading responses, presentation creation, and schedule creation. They might not be great for you, but if you have a bunch of showings, you have to schedule back to back. If you feed that information, it will actually help you organize your day. It will become your personal assistant if you keep your prompt window up long enough and you kind of tell it what you're doing, what you're going through, each and everything. It will make suggestions for it from a day-to-day perspective. Let me go to the next one. So here's some software that I use for this. The blog creation, I mentioned it, Jasper.ai. It does actually kind of what Roberto was referencing. It will tell you what the title should be. It will give you some good information. It will basically write the blog for you. You put a couple snippets in there. It will extrapolate it. It will lengthen it, shorten it, rewrite it, whatever you need. It's really just using the power of ChatGPT. I'm actually not sure if it does provide some sort of a layer filtration, Roberto, on the front end to where it's more refined for SEO and blogs, because that's the purpose associated with it. I'll have to look into that, but that's one of the tools that I use a lot. For SEO, I mentioned before, SEO Surfer. That's really going to help you find those derivative indicators for keywords under what the blogs are. So basically, search first-time home buyer on Surfer SEO. It'll give you a couple of derivatives to it, or rank it. Then take those derivatives, punch into Jasper AI, create your blogs, put it online, run advertising to the blogs, et cetera, et cetera. And then email, Brevo. I think it's Brevo, I'm not sure. Pretty cool. Long-term email campaigns to your consumers based on whatever they want. Even we'll send emails from a generic response back. If consumers actually respond to your emails. So that's a pretty cool tool as well. I'm just tapping into the automation aspect of it, but it's something that should be looked for. For business development, legal contracts, genieai.co. That's the one I use. It's supposed to be a trained lawyer. Learning management system, CoAssemble. Fantastic, literally my favorite. Tests, quizzes, unlimited users for $200 a month. You can look in the back end to see who's completed what and where they're at in the process. You can build tons and tons of training modules, listing presentation, buyer presentation, how to use your CRM, how to use your IDX page. I have it all for our team inside CoAssemble, and I can see when agents have completed it, when they haven't, and if they pass for tests and quizzes. And it's made it a lot easier to write those tests and quizzes, and even refining some of the verbal or the written content that we put up there as well. And then
Eric,
lastly, customer service. Yeah.
Just really quick for the LMS on CoAssemble, I'm just curious, how much info do you have to give it for it to give you back the tests? Just out of curiosity.
It's almost like you do have to develop the information via. So it's like, I'm going to create all the videos. I know what the modules are going to be. I broke them down. You really still have to build the module, but when it comes to actually writing the literature associated with it, it's not a lot of language, but the more you give it, the better questions will ask on the testing side of it or create it. And I'll actually, like, real time within CoAssemble, you can be like, hey, I want to edit this, or I want to move this, or I want to do that. So it's basically just accessing the capabilities of ChatGPT through the software, rather than you like taking the prompts out, pasting them into CoAssemble, retaking the prompts out, pasting them into CoAssemble. So it just really streamlined. It doesn't really have any superpower tools where it's creating the quizzes for you. ChatGPT will create quizzes for you if you ask it to. It will do anything, technically. So it kind of just does that within the system as well. And I just like it because of the mobile interface that it has. It's really good on mobile, and it's also super user friendly. And once again, unlimited user for $200 a month, so you can really extrapolate it and scale it. But it doesn't do anything like, it's not creating a test for you. You have to give it the data to create the test. But it's a lot easier when you're doing it rather than just taking it like wholeheartedly off the top of your head. Trust me, because I've had to do that for a lot of things. Oh wait, let me go back. Sorry. Did that answer your question?
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
Okay. And then customer service, Thankful.ai. We used to use this. It's just a back and forth chat prompt. There's a lot of them. I don't know if it's the best. It's the one that I've used for our website. It's worked pretty well. I know a lot of IDX providers use some version of Structurally, right, to get the AI response as well. Not sure. I'm not married to Thankful.ai. I've used it for a small period of time, but they're out there for the customer service aspect for sure. And on the admin side, I just the ChatGPT extension for email, beautiful AI for presentation, and then calendar, use motion. I'm just getting into that now with my marketing calendar for scheduling ads and things of that nature. It's really good at actually putting things on your calendar, moving things off, kind of organizing it for you. So you can just get your day organized. Like, believe it or not, I was double booked for this time slot and I had to delete one, and I didn't know that until earlier today. I was like, of course I'll do your thing when you asked me a month and a half ago. No idea I was going to say yes to other things as well. So those are some of the softwares that I use that really help me, or help us scale as a team or as individuals throughout our day as well.
Well, we'll add this list to our prompts for all of you guys.
Oh, sorry.
emailing us, so we'll send this as well.
Yeah, the prompts are in there. We're getting there. Sorry, go ahead, Roberto.
Question, like you're obviously, in your high performance team, you're using a bunch of different tools and automation for AI. What percentage do you think you're saving using all these things? Like, are we talking 20, 30%? What?
So I'll say this openly. We used to have a 5-person marketing department here, stateside. Just salaries alone, too much money is all I'll say. We've scaled that 5 down to 1 marketing director, a videographer, and 2 VAs. And we're actually getting, like Roberto, honestly, we're saving like 70% of what we were paying before. And
Awesome.
then, but that's because we were over scaled, right? We were way too heavy. Most teams aren't like that.
You are a place partner now, and that also enabled you to, lower that too. Like, I think we do have to disclose that, because with place, that can go down too.
Correct. I mean, conceptually, place helps you scale as well, because it has like a centralized, aspect to it. So for sure, and and I'm talking about the marketing side. There's other sides of it as well, but just to say, Roberto, I'm probably getting, I would say 60 to 70% more marketing output for maybe 30% of what I had in the cost before. So it's definitely saving. That's super important, but it's also like, what are you gaining at the same time? Because it sucks to save to lose, right? Saving to lose, I don't think is like always the best, but like saving to gain, it's huge. Like I'm putting out, I want to write this. I have this marketing plan idea, and I'm literally from inception to deployment, we're looking at like 12 days in entirety, which was never like that before. I spent almost 4.5 months building my first 52-week email journey, evergreen content, literally before ChatGPT, like before it was released back in 2021. I was spending like months getting it together, months spell checking it, making sure every link was right. It was such a long haul. Now, and we've done it more often, so we're more comfortable doing it. Now we're like 12 days, we can deploy a new one. 12 days, we can deploy a new one. I mean, ads, blogs, where deployment time is just so much faster. But I would say
The funny
70%.
The funny thing is you're saying 12 days, and I bet you a few months from now, you're going to be like, we're down to 6 days or we're down to 3 days.
Well,
I mean, it's exponential, the how quickly things are moving.
100%.
That's great.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's so many of the use cases where you come into play. Like I said, like I had new agreements we had to roll out. I didn't pay for a lawyer. That's usually a $4,000 retainer for us. I didn't pay for anything. And actually got it done faster than attorneys do, because attorneys are just the worst. And I don't, sorry for offending anybody.
No offense to any attorneys online.
You take forever to write agreements or read agreements. Everybody can do it, but nobody wants to do it. So yeah, and that's helped a lot too for myself personally. So that's been great. Also, Roberto, it's not even what we're saving. It's like, even when I found Surfer SEO, it was like I was literally just putting random advertising out there and seeing if it stuck. Like it's more strategic, it's more calculated, it's machine. It has more.
It's less trial and error.
It's the cost is also an efficiency, right? Like this ad will perform better. So going through,
so you're really augmenting yourself to be able to do more, right? So we're going to expect our team members and our mins, everybody to, if we're letting them use these tools, to produce more, right? So they're going to be super, team members, and they'll be able to do more.
Yeah, the trick for that is finding things they need to do outside of utilizing AI, because then they're just sitting in the office all day. So it's like, hey, we got to get more creative.
If the job's getting done,
the job's getting
more,
done,
then it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly. But it's more times to like help our agents hand and foot. It's more times to, just be deeper in transactions and files. It's more time to do a lot of different things on the aspects. And even like, we're a big team, so we're never focused a lot on agent branding, right? And we kind of get to spend more time coaching our agents from the marketing perspective on how they should market themselves and attack their sphere of influence. There's a lot of things we learn from Place as well, but it's also like, we never did that. We're such a lead gen team. We're about like, get the lead, remarket, retarget, dial, convert. And now like this month, our number one lead source we closed was Sphere. And that's the first time in 3 years.
Wow.
And like, we're just like, yeah. And it's because we've been able to actually be more hand and foot with the team, because not everybody's head down grinding, having to do all these things to help the scale. But anyway, good quote from Bill Gates, who obviously Microsoft was he's a founder of Microsoft, and they're a big investor in OpenAI. So the reason why we're even here is a lot because of what he did and what Microsoft ended up doing in turn. But AI is the future of efficient back-end processes, and it will revolutionize the way we do business and create new growth opportunities. And I think following that up was actually analytical use, and I got this from AI. Back-end processes are almost 3x what front-end processes are in terms of use of AI. So you as business operators should be looking at, you are basically facilitating a back-end process for your agents. They're the ones on the front line out there selling. You're supporting them. That's a back-end process, no matter how you want to look at it. So learning how to weave these softwares and techniques in your back-end process is going to make you infinitely scalable to provide those resources to your agent that they need to sell more homes ultimately. And that's what we're in the business of, is selling more homes. So that's a good look from the data perspective going into it. And last but not least, we got these basic prompts. They're kind of small for it to fit. And Roberto, I don't know if you can see that. I wonder if I can zoom into my screen. 25, 150. Yeah, it's not going up, unfortunately. But here's some basic prompts you can use.
It's okay. We're going to email it to them.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. But yeah, we'll email us to you. And if you want to learn more and come to another Power Playbooks, place.com/powerplaybooks, and please email powerplaybooks@place.com for the, I'm plugging you all day.
Perfect.
I don't know what the next subject is, but it's going to be good. I can guarantee that.
Real quick, Eric, how long did it take to make that presentation using AI?
How long was
to make these slides?
I sent the copy and we got off the call. I don't know.
It was like
when
a few
our
minutes.
media, it was like a few minutes, and I just tweaked it. So I mean, like, I'm never using PowerPoint again. I'm sorry. I know it has AI in it now, but I just can't do it. It's just too much brain power, too much thinking. But super simple.
Yeah. So this is us eating our own dog food, right? Like, we're saying AI and you use it for everything. You don't say that you're using it and then go back to manual. You're literally using it for everything you can, which is amazing.
Yeah.
With that, Vija, let's turn it over to you to talk about how saving us time saves us money.
Yeah, all I wanted to say is a really great exercise for everybody to do today on this topic, because again, I want to bring this home, and you guys feel free to put any questions in chat. Let me bring this home a little bit, because we started this and I was like, who here is like, look, I need tactics. I need to understand how this is going to help me in my real estate business, right? So a really good exercise for you to do, and you can do it in 5 minutes. Sometimes it can take 30 minutes if you have to look up information, is to take what your income was either in the last 12 months or last year. So write down on a piece of paper what your income was. And then take a look at your calendar, make some assumptions, and guess how many hours you worked. So if you're doing a rolling 12 months, just kind of look back that way. If it was last year and you know that you had maybe you had a long extended trip, maybe you had maternity leave, maybe you know that you didn't work the full 12 months, maybe you worked hard all year, make an assumption on how many hours a week you worked. Divide your income by how many hours you work, and you'll get your dollar per hour. And that is how much it costs you to work every hour. What I have found over the years is a lot of real estate agents have really high dollars per hours. So as Eric was going through all of those programs, and you're like, I don't know if I want to add another $30 a month program, another $50 a month program, maybe some of them are $100 a month, right? I think you'll be shocked. Some of you guys have dollars per hour that are like $500 an hour, $700 an hour. I think you'd be shocked at what something that might save you 1 to 3 hours a week could actually save you. It could be like $10,000 a month. Really, like if you really calculate your dollars per hour, do the same thing with your operations team. If you're a team owner, have your operations team do it. Have everybody in your team calculate it out. Then I think we can take AI and we can either go directly and we can get a premium ChatGPT or use Bard, which is my big takeaway for this one, or we can get third-party software. Then we can say, is this worth it? Then we can weigh pros and cons, and we can start looking at an ROI, because it may not be. It might not be worth it for you to have a calendaring thing when you've got salespeople who are making appointments. Some of that may make sense, some of it may not make sense. You might do 2 presentations a year. Probably wouldn't make sense to do beautiful AI. But I know for a fact, Rob Stewart and I are about to get a subscription to beautiful AI, like with all the amount of content am I right, Rob?
Yeah, I'm gonna be on that thing in 5 minutes.
I mean, literally, we are both subscribed within an hour. I guarantee.
I'm already there's a couple like the question about will it create links? Yes, I just created a blog post. I'm a real estate agent in Kenmore, Washington, for 5 events in the month of June that are good for families, and it linked to the different places. Like, this stuff is mind blowing. Vija, can I I want to wrap up with something that was an experience that the very first time that Roberto ever sat me down and showed me Dolly. And I don't know if you're from, but Dolly is ChatGPT's image model, where it can go out and create like images for you. And there's Roberto, what was that room that we were in?
Oh, that was Midjourney. So there's Dolly, and then there's Midjourney, which are models to help you create images based on a prompt.
So Roberto tells me, he's like, go check this out. And I'm like, what is this? And he's like, tell it to make an image. And I'm like, I'm so brain dead when confronted with this. I don't even know what to say. I just stare at it. And he's like, well,
you freeze.
Yeah, I freeze. He's like, you like shoes, like tell it to make a pair of shoes. And so I'm like, okay, and so I prompted, I say, make me a pair of tennis shoes, basketball shoes. I'm such an idiot, on a beach at sunset. I don't know why, but that's what I prompted it with. And it spit back 3 variations, right? One was literally a pair of shoes on a beach with the sun setting in the background. Another one was a pair of shoes that had a beach with sunset on it. I don't remember what the third one was, and then I could iterate. I'm like, ooh, I like that one. Make some pivot off of this one. But here's when we got done, that there's all the other people's prompts that they're feeding in there, right? And so I can see mine, but I can see these people that clearly know how to prompt this thing. And I'm a moron. It's the first time I've ever done it. I didn't even know what to say, right, Eric? But these other folks were doing things that were next level prompting, which made me realize, holy cow, even if we got to learn how to start prompting these things, right? I think the big takeaway, if I was in here today and I'm like, get in there and start learning how to prompt it, okay? The first time I ever tried, I asked it, make me a real estate website. It said, that's too tough. I can't do it. So I had to say, I'm a real estate agent in Seattle. Make me the code for the home page of a real estate website. And it spit out the HTML code. Gave me a little disclaimer at the bottom. Hey, if you were going to actually use this, you'd need CSS styling on this thing. And I'm like, cool. Make me CSS styling, including images of the Space Needle in Lake Washington. And boom, it banged out the CSS code for it. So it's a matter of how you prompt these things. I think that is really what we need to understand right now. And look, Eric gave you all sorts of cool tools, but I'd say at a very baseline, start playing with these things and understanding how to prompt it.
And there is there's a new title of a role, which is called prompt engineering. And this is a new skill that's replacing a lot of other skills, but it is a career now. We're starting to see companies.
I think we should tell our kids, the ones that are in school, go to school to learn how to be a prompt engineer.
Learn how to use AI before it learns how to use you. That's what
I think how I'd love to end this is I'd love you guys to come back in the fall. And because I have a feeling, 6 months from now, maybe fall, early winter, 6 months from now, there's going to be a whole new list. And it's going to be 6 months is going to go fast in our lives, but it is going to be nano speed. What we're talking about is my guess. So if all of you guys want them back, let us know in chat.
Actually, type the number 1 in chat if you want them back in 6 months. I'd love to just make sure everyone's here and engaged.
So Sarita, and to wrap up, who do we have next week?
So next week, before we get to that, if you guys are finding this valuable, please give us some love on social. We'd love to. We're going to keep these going every Wednesday at noon Pacific. Next week we have Gene Arant, and I'll be interviewing him on his golden letters and how he gets sellers with mail, with letters that he sends out.
He's amazing.
He's the master at that.
Yeah, he's really great.
And again, our goal is to deliver detailed information that you can take and apply to your business. And so if you have suggestions for speakers or anything else, reach out to Vija or I directly, as well as make sure you engage with us online.
Or just
So yeah, if you guys, just email powerplaybooks@place.com. So if you find this valuable, definitely give us some love on social, because we'd love to make sure we continue to increase our audience and deliver value to you guys.
And for all of you who came late because the reminder prompt came a little late, don't you worry, we're going to send you this replay, so you're going to get it. So Roberto, Eric, Bob, thank you so much for taking the time to share with us everything you know about AI, ChatGPT, and Bard. And we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you in about 6 months and with a whole new world, I think. Bye,
Thanks,
Sarita.
Vija. Thanks, Sarita.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Eric.
Appreciate you.